What's up, everybody? Good morning. This is Good Music America. Crams are here with Joe. And for the first time, Jason taking time away from his hectic school schedule. Everyone, welcome, Jason. Yay.
Thanks for having me, guys. I feel like a guest on my own channel.
You're welcome. So we got a lot to talk about on this show. You guys wrote in some questions. We're going to answer them for you. We're also going to go over some of our album reviews, specifically the new Lana Del Rey. But first, let's whip through some music news. A couple weeks late, but our Grammy reactions. We weren't too enthusiastic about the Grammys going in anyway. Am I wrong? Phoebe Bridgers didn't win anything, and Elton John hasn't punched anyone yet.
You are correct on both counts as far as we know. Elton, I think, is rich enough that if he did punch someone, I think he could probably get away with it. But nothing has come out on TMZ so far.
Yeah. I guess Phoebe got robbed. I don't even know who she was up against to really say. I did no preparation for this.
But Jason, what are your feelings on the Grammys? Do you care about them at all, or very little? Joe and I don't really care at all. So
Zero. They're totally useless and pointless and entirely wrong 100% of the time.
I thought that might be your answer. The big stink with the Grammys was the really provocative performance of WAP, which is like, you can think it's offensive or you can think it's dirty or graphic, but people who are like, I'm offended by it. What does that have to do with you? Why would you take offense to it? You either watch it or you don't. But for our community, probably more unhappy that Eddie Van Halen didn't really get the tribute people thought that he would get. I know it's the Grammys. They focus on new modern culture, but I think he probably should have been given a little more light here. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, more than nothing would have been great, other than showing his guitar on a darkened stage, I guess, was supposedly tribute enough. I kind of get it because they don't want to scare people off by having a guitar solo during the Grammys. So, not their music, not their style. It's just not their culture anymore. So I actually wish they just hadn't mentioned him at all because, I don't want his name in their mouths.
Apparently, they asked Wolfgang to play Eruption, and he turned it down.
I don't know. I think he deserved more of a shout. He is one of the bigger names for guitarists ever. I think even most people know the name Eddie Van Halen, like, just so popular, but whatever. Not much else going on in the news. Unfortunately for myself, as a big Red House Painters, Sun Kill Moon fan, Mark Kozelek a while ago was accused of sexual assault. I think grooming and stuff too. But now, like 8 more girls have come forward. Not really looking good. It seems weird because he does kind of have this really like kind of iciness to him, like outside of his music, like if you've ever seen interviews. So this one just kind of is getting under my skin a little bit.
Are you going to change your album of the year? Isn't he a winner? Wasn't Red House Painters a winner? Are you going to do what Jason did to Ryan Adams and sort of excommunicate him from your lists?
No, and we've talked about this before because I think with the music that we cover, it's just like, how do we do the Beatles then? John Lennon admitted to beating up women. Like, we're not going to cancel the Beatles. There's just no way anyone's ever going to do that. People still love Thriller, even though there's a good chance Michael Jackson was sleeping with children. So, we get sometimes into this lack of principle and just kind of pick and choose what we want to do. Not in any way endorsing this man's behavior, but unfortunately, he created my favorite album of 1996. So it is what it is. Sucks. The guy's a tool.
I can definitely, for a lot of artists, separate the music and the art. And probably for Mark Kozelek, I could do it. I like Benji a lot. Might be in the running for my 2014 list. And I don't know why. Maybe because I liked Ryan Adams so much that it kind of affected the way I feel about the music. I don't really feel that way about Mark Kozelek at all. So I don't, maybe that's hypocritical of me. It's just, I don't know. That's just how I feel about what happens when I hear the music.
There's definitely like a betrayal factor. If you really like an artist, it can be different because you buy into more than just the music. You're buying into that person and his personality and his persona. For some music, it's just like, I like the music. I don't care about who made it. I don't care about their life story, whatever. I just really like the output of their, you know, artistic, whatever. But I can separate that. But I'm trying to think if there's an artist I love that's sort of, I like them more for more than just their music. But I don't really care for people in general, so it's tough. I really just kind of like the music. So I don't know. I've never had that betrayal, I guess, of a person sort of doing something and not being able to separate them from what their artistic merits and their personal life. So I can definitely see why Kramzer would be less affected because I don't really hear him talking about Mark Kozelek that much. Whereas I remember from back in the day, Jason always talking about Ryan Adams. Every time I saw him, the entire time, just wouldn't shut up. So there's definitely that, a little extra factor. If you buy into an artist and they betray you, then that really sucks and can totally influence your opinion of their music.
Yeah, I like Mark Kozelek a lot. I like Red House Painters a lot, but I don't have like that like religious devotion like I do to like Tom York or to like Jason had. Like if this story was about Tom York, you probably wouldn't see me on this channel or out in public for like 3 weeks because I'd just be like in the dark with a candle. But yeah, I just think it's too hard and it's only going to come out more. I mean, so, Joe, you love The Social Network, the film, but Army Hammer's in it. So are you never going to watch it again? I mean, these are the.
That's true. I mean, the one that would sort of affect me would be something like Kanye West, who's just gone off the deep end. But that I think that is someone where I've kind of been able to separate the music from whatever the hell he is as a person these days. So I can see it. He hasn't been accused of anything illegal or untowards, but he's kind of just lost his dang mind. So, but I can totally overlook that.
Yeah, so let us know in the comments what you guys think of those situations because I feel like they're probably going to come up more and more over the next few years. But let's perk it up a little bit and let's get some fan mail or questionnaires going. You guys gave us a lot of really good ideas, a lot of good inquiries. So we're here to communicate our responses to you. Joe, what do you got for some questions?
Well, yes, this is our first GMA, AMA. I know, ask us anything. Doesn't work. GMA, AUA as a collective here. Yes, Gma'awa. Our first question comes from Chip, and it's one that a lot of people have asked throughout the history of our channel, and that is, where did you guys first meet?
Do either of you like remember an exact like place? I know how we met each other, but I don't know exactly where we were.
I met each of you in a driveway in the summer. I think 1 year apart. I believe I met Joe in the summer of 2003 at Bill Dulcich's graduation party. And we talked a lot about Rush. And I met you and had heard about you, Jason, before the next year in Chris Nacarelli's driveway. And we talked a lot about Rush. And you told me you could play some of the riffs from La Via Strangiato on guitar. And I was like, dude, you're the coolest. And you were like, yeah, my screen name is King Lyrics because of Alex Lifeson. And I was like, oh yeah, man, you're the coolest. And Joe's screen name was Rock On Spoon Man from Soundgarden. Like, so it's just, we're the Holy Trinity.
Remember, before actually meeting you, Kramzer, we were, it was in high school, and I was talking to Chris Callan, mutual friend, and I think he was wearing like a Rush shirt or something. And I was just talking to him, and he made mention of this dude over by the locker, and it was you. He's like, oh yeah, Cramser loves Rush too. So I was like, oh sweet. And then I met you, probably a year later or something. Yeah, said Bill Dulcich's. And as far as me meeting Jason, I can't remember who I met first, you or Brian Curtis, but somebody asked me over to their house to learn some like bass songs. It was like a week after I started playing bass, and I had no idea what I was doing. And you had a bunch of like 90s alternative rockers. I think I was supposed to learn Tonic, some Tonic song, and probably Counting Blue Cars by Dishwalla. That's my earliest memory.
So it should be said, I guess, that we're all from the suburbs of Pittsburgh, and I'm a couple years older than you guys. After high school, I went to recording school for a year in Maryland. And when I returned with all my newfound knowledge of how to record things, my cousin was in a band at the high school that you guys went to. So that's how we all connected. I started recording my cousin's high school band, and you were friends with those guys. They were called the Red Less Traveled, and some of my earliest memories of meeting you guys were at some of their shows.
Oh yeah, I was a TLRT groupie.
So was I. I was kind of their what's the kid's name from Almost Famous that follows the band around and writes about them in the school paper. That's pretty much what I did. But they were a cool group because everyone was doing emo and screamo or dance rock, and they were just straight up rock and roll. It was pretty cool. All right, next question.
Next question comes to us from our community favorite, Rich Latta. And he asked, and this is another one that many people have asked us because of our prodigious output on this channel. How do you find the time to listen to so much music?
You just wake up and you start listening to music, and then you just do it all day. That's how you find the time.
It kind of is just that simple. It's one of the first things I do when I wake up in the morning is, I've mainly listen at home. I've got a really nice sound bar and awesome subwoofer. I can really just encompass myself in sound here. And I'll just play something from my phone. I have a really awesome Napster account. Love Napster. Formerly Rhapsody. Just hook it up, Bluetooth it, and sometimes even the night before, I'll just like queue up stuff I want to listen to. But it's literally like I get out of bed, I throw something on while I'm cleaning up or getting ready. I listen to music in the shower. I listen to music when I commute to work, which is really the best thing because even when I wasn't focused on these projects as much, 40-minute commute, that's an album each way. That's 5 days a week. That's 10 albums a week, whether you're listening to something new or re-listening. When I'm at the gym, I'm listening to music. Sometimes that kind of sucks because I'm like trying to get pumped up, but like I'm listening to like something really mellow and it's just not really clicking, but I got to do it. But it's also not maybe as much music as you guys think, especially if we're doing an artist that week that doesn't have a huge discography. Like when we did REM, I know 75% of those albums kind of inside and out. So just kind of a quick re-listen or revisit just to rank them, but didn't need that much attention. But overall, Jason's right. You just listen to it, unless I'm with another human being. I live by myself, so very easy to just listen to music.
I have a job where I can listen to music, and I have Spotify, and so I just listen to music pretty much the entire time I'm at work, unless I'm in a meeting or something. So, I can knock out 7-8 albums in a day. I usually listen to one or so, half an album on the way to work and home from work. So yeah, it's just about finding the time in your day to just listen to something. And if I wasn't doing this channel, I wouldn't listen to nearly as much, but because I can, I do for our discographies and our albums of the year. And, it's just making the time.
I will also say that Sunday is the day that I don't really listen to music. I'll have it on sometimes, but it's kind of the day where I take my mental break. I will have someone over for dinner or something. We'll have music on, but it's not the same thing.
Yeah, that's the harder thing, is finding time for breaks. Like, because we pretty much have to listen to a lot of stuff every day with the way the channel's going. So it's harder to find time not to listen to music than it is to find time to listen to music.
Yes, it's very easy to get burnout. So when you're watching the listography videos, if our enthusiasm isn't quite that high, I mean, sometimes it's tough, but wouldn't have it any other way.
All right, I believe we're done with that one. Let's move on to the next question. And we got a lot of good ones, so we're not going to be able to answer every question, but I think this one from Alex Conway is a good one. In the history of our discographies, doing our listographies, is there an album or albums that sort of put us or almost put us off an artist in general?
I don't know about a single album, but the most like burnt out and just like tired of an artist I ever felt was when we did Neil Young. I'm still not feeling Neil these days, and it's been, I don't know, half a year, something like that. I don't know when I'll listen to Neil Young again, but that was too much.
Yeah, and I'm the resident Neil Young lover. I know you guys like him, but that's just so many damn albums. It was crazy. That was a tough week. I would agree with that. Obviously, I hate the Eagles. I didn't know how much I did until that, and especially Long Road Out of Eden, which, as of this moment, is chugging along in the March Madness tournament. I'm trying to think if anything else really stood out. I think Dire Straits kind of got knocked down a peg. I mean, he's one of my favorite guitar players ever, but none of the albums really blew me away. But I'll stick with Long Road Out of Eden for sure. Just made me go from being like Eagles just aren't my thing to these.
A couple. I mean, obviously, I don't like Sonic Youth, and my listening experience to them mostly backed it up. I did find a couple I didn't mind, one I even like. As far as like albums, I gotta go with Blondie, just because of their second half, Ghost of Download, whatever the heck the other ones were. I can't even remember their names. I've tried to block them from my memory. And I still like the early Blondie, but Blondie's one, even starting with like Auto American, just fell so far downhill. I didn't realize kind of how bad most of their output was, and it kind of overwhelmed their good stuff. Boston, kind of, we knew what we were in for. But even somebody like Stone Temple Pilots, who I really like, but after listening to the discography, I kind of like them a little bit less. And that happens a couple times. Even Van Halen was a little tougher to get through than I expected. Depeche Mode was a drag. That one kind of sucked. Another community pick. Thanks, guys. But for the most part, I kind of agree with Neil, but I still really like the Neil one, even if it was like 25 albums too long. But I don't think there's been anything that's totally knocked me off an artist, because I still, even with Blondie, which has some of my least favorite albums of all time, I still think Parallel Lines is a 5-star. So I can't say that their second half output killed the artist for me. I'm pretty much able to separate the two halves of their discography out.
And just so everyone's aware, we do have Blondie recorded, and it will be released sometime in the future. But we have done Blondie.
Yeah, that's another little kind of like trick we play on the audience, is sometimes we do a couple in a week so that we have some backed up. That way, when we do larger discographies, we can take multiple weeks.
Yeah, so if it looks like our hairstyles or beards drastically change in a week segment, that's why.
All right, next question. We'll do Isaac Cooksey. Asks if we listen to any music from other cultures, foreign language kind of stuff.
I mean, I'm not into any like specific genre outside of kind of the American, I don't know, what would you call it?
English language
music. But there's like random things that I like. There's a few different Japanese artists that I like. Shintaro Sakamoto being one of them. There's a group from Brazil, Portuguese band that I like. I like some like French stuff, but I wouldn't say I'm into any of it or that knowledgeable about any of it, but there are kind of like random things here and there that I like.
Yeah, I'm with Jason. There's nothing that I really follow. There's random stuff. There's a lot more like classical or film score stuff from other countries that I can get into. But if we're being completely honest, between the listography videos, new releases, and albums of the year, not a whole lot room for much else at the moment. But I previously, within the last 6-7 months, was dating a girl from Mexico. Her family's from Mexico. A lot of Mexican music, big band stuff. Not too much of like the hip hop like Mexican thing. I don't even know what the correct word for that. I know when I hear it, everything goes. But all of it, didn't like really any of it. I got just really sick of it, and there was like one guitar song that was like 15 minutes long, and I swear to God, all it just like did the same thing for 14 minutes, and they're like, "Isn't this incredible?" And I'm like, "No, no, it's not." So no disrespect to that culture, but I did not like that particular style that I heard a lot.
Short answer, no. I don't really listen to anything outside of American, unless it's something like an artist like Shakira, who would have Spanish language stuff. Nelly Furtado did some, I think, Spanish language stuff. Mars Volta will throw in, Spanish stuff, Spanish speaking music, and it's not a turn off or anything, but I don't actively seek out, Brazilian jazz or whatever the heck's going on in the world. If something kind of breaks through in America, foreign language, I'll listen to it. But yeah, I don't actively kind of see what's happening in France and their top 10 or anything and go searching for that.
Yeah, and I'm also big on lyrics, so that's just gone if I don't know the language.
We do have a show idea. I don't know if we want to reveal it or not yet. It was given to us by one of our viewers that could maybe help us remedy our lack of diversity, and I think could be pretty interesting. So one of our viewers gave us the idea to choose a genre that is way outside of our wheelhouse and then kind of explore it for maybe a month. I don't know the exact amount of time that we'll give ourselves. And then we'll report back with our favorite findings from a genre maybe that we didn't really know before. So that's something we're kicking around. We might do that in the future.
Yeah, that's a cool programming idea that could potentially replace albums of the year once that's over, which is going to be their albums of the year is going to be out of our lives before we know it. All right, I say we do one more, but maybe we can do part 2 next week or something.
One more. Well, let's do 2 more. This one's a quick one from D. Katana Soul Zero. What are your guys' preferred headphone brands for the best listening experience, if you have one?
So I'm not like a connoisseur of headphones. I know I like the way Klipsch, I think is how you say it, sound, but those can get pretty expensive. For me, like the best bang for the buck headphones and the ones I use all the time are these AKG K240 studio headphones. They use these a lot in like radio broadcasting and stuff. I've mixed music on these headphones. They sound great. I think I bought them for like $120, but I think they're actually, you can get them now on Amazon probably for $80, something like that.
I mostly go with wireless earbuds by Sony. I don't remember what they're called, but I'm not a connoisseur either. I think they were like 30 or 40 bucks. I don't have a good set of like in-house headphones like Jason does. Haven't for a while. I usually just use my speakers when I'm here. But most of my music listening is on the move. So having the Bluetooth setup is nice, whether I'm on the train or like something, if I've got nothing going on, it's nice out. I'll just go on a walk around my neighborhood and listen with my headphones. So I wish I was more apt at a good knowing what to get. Eventually I will, but as of now, just pretty basic.
I mostly listen on these bad boys because can't really have the over ear stuff at work. So I at least have to be cognizant if someone's knocking on my door or something. So usually it's through that. Unfortunately, I wish I had something better. I'll probably get some over ears for home, but when I'm at home, I can't listen that much. So it sucks.
One more thing to add. I cannot do earbuds. They hurt my ears. I guess I have small ear canals or something like that. So for going out and about and like walking around, when I lived in Philly, I would walk to work and walked around the city a lot and didn't want to use the big, like bulky AKGs. So these are kind of like cheap, kind of beater headphones, JVCs. I think they're called JVC flats. They actually sound pretty good and they're like $11 and they go over your ear. So if you're looking for just like something that you don't care if like you sit on them or break them, JVC flats are the way to go.
You can just go straight up 90s throwback with like the old fuzz pad ones. Those were awesome.
I mean, people thought that's what these were. When I would like wear these around, people would be like, what the hell year is it? What are you doing? But they sound good.
All right, we're going to do 3 rapid fire ones real quick. Koopa Toad says, what is your most unpopular opinion on an album? Cramser.
Cut the crap.
Jason.
I don't know, maybe Manifesto being the best Roxy Music record?
Wish You Were Here. It's got to be Wish You Were Here for
Wish You Were Here is the 8th best Pink Floyd album.
Obviously, mine would be In Rainbows or Remain in Light, neither of which I care for. Rich Latta, again, love him. Great commenter. He asks, when is prime music listening time? Cramser.
All day, right in the morning. I'm kind of a morning person, so I like it at the morning. I like to be a little more relaxed at night. So
yeah, I listen to music pretty much from like when I wake up, maybe like 6, 7 a.m. until like dinner time. And then after that, I usually like watch TV or something, relax.
Favorite time for me, driving to work, just crank the music, gets me awake in the morning. And that's it. That's all. We'll end it there. I think that was a great round of questions. We'll definitely have to do this again sometime.
yeah, guys, thanks very much for giving us your questions. Hopefully you feel you know us a little better. Yeah, we'll probably do this again once we can get Jason back. Finish off some of those questions. Let's finish this episode of GMA talking about new music, our favorite thing to do. I got a couple of listens in. Jason has probably a ton of listens in. What are you up to, like 100 listens so far this year so far?
I have listened to 60 so far.
It's about your pace. I'd say. All right. We're going to talk about the Lana Del Rey album. But first, Joe, what do you got outside of Lana?
Outside of Lana, I have a couple. I think I have 3 4-star albums I listened to this year or this week. This week, not including Lana, who I will not reveal my rating for her quite yet. Outside of that, I got 4 stars for Valerie June, The Moon and the Stars, kind of a folky R&B mishmash. Pretty cool. I also have 4 stars for the Anchoress, Art of Losing, kind of gothic. Tori Amos meets Kate Bush meets Shirley Manson. Cool album from her. And also 4 stars for a band that I really like and sort of have been let down by their last album, but I think this is a pretty good one. Death from Above. I don't know if they dropped in 1979 or not. I think they did. I think they're just Death from Above again. So their new one is For Lovers. I also have at 4 stars.
All right, so I've been listening to a ton of stuff and I haven't been doing GMA, so I have a lot I could share, but I'm just going to give a few that I really recommend, and you'll just have to wait until probably the end of June when we do our best of the year so far video to see what all the other stuff that I'm really digging is. This week, a new album from Tons came out. They are a Canadian supergroup made up of Chris Murphy from Sloan, Matt Murphy from Super Friends, and Mike O'Neill from the Inbreds. It's really good, power pop, lots of catchy melodies, good harmonies. The record's called Duly Noted. I gave that 4 stars. If you like power pop, definitely a good one to check out. But the record that I'm really obsessed with lately and just completely in love with is the new record from Alice Phoebe Lou. The record is called Glow. I have it at 4.5 stars, but this is one that I could definitely see being bumped up to 5 stars by the end of the year. She's a South African artist who is based out of Berlin, I believe, at the moment. And it's just awesome. Her voice is incredible. It's kind of jazzy, R&B influenced. It sounds so good. She recorded it to tape, so that always helps. But even for a record recorded to tape, it sounds amazing. I think it sounds so good. Yeah, just great singing, great songs, great playing. Can't recommend it enough.
Well, you could if you just gave it 5 stars, but whatever. I got a local band with an album called Voyage Out by Floaty, which not crazy about. 2 stars, which means kind of pretty lousy. Just it's like tight little uninteresting, but like want to be interesting, just skimming the surface of like math rock without big arithmetic. Yeah, not I wouldn't even bother if I were you guys. And then I've got one Joe did, Adult Mom with Driver, which I liked. This is my first listen to anything by Adult Mom. Who's the late 90s singer that sings Kiss Me Under American Twilight?
Sixpence None the Richer.
Yes. She kind of sounds like that singer. She's got like a kind of late 90s carefree sound. Sounds good. I'm going 3 stars. It's very sweet, sincere, charming, kind of like a little bit of alt country, just kind of like indie singer-songwriter. You think it's just like a little bit reserved, a little bit safe, a little plain, but it's good. It's definitely, it makes me want to listen to their other album, which I probably will do at some point this weekend. So yeah, that's what I've got. But the big album we're going to review here, we're waiting for it for a year. I mean, the country was. I don't think Jason was waiting for it. I was. I love Lana Del Rey with Chemtrails over the Country Club. Who wants to start? Because I don't know what you guys.
Well, a little background on Chemtrails. It's produced by Jack Antonoff, the former guitarist for Fun. He's done a whole bunch of producing, most notably on Lana Del Rey's last album and some other stuff. I don't remember all the stuff he's produced. He has a real kind of specific sound.
Melodrama is the other really big one by Lord.
Yeah, Melodrama by Lord. So I'm a big Lana Del Rey fan. I'm going to sort of get that out of the way. You'll see her into the 2010s and the albums of the year. Pretty sure Kramser feels the same way. And I just don't know about this one. I like it a lot. I think the first song on the album, White Dress, is maybe the best song she's ever written. It's perfect. She has this weird, it's like almost whistle register level of singing that I'd never heard her do before. Very interesting. It's kind of funny, touching, sort of, remembering her when she was young before she was famous. Listening to White Stripes when they were white hot, and she name dropped some other early 2000 bands. I think that song's pretty much perfect. I think her cover For Free, the Joni Mitchell tune, pretty much perfect. It's in the middle a little bit where it's so slow and understated that it kind of loses me. I think I'm blaming Jack Antonoff for that because you kind of have the same stuff on NFR where it's sort of sucking the power out of Del Rey. I'm a big Ultraviolence era, Born to Die. And I just feel like this is a little too much Jack Antonoff, sort of maybe going for Taylor Swift folklore territory, or maybe folklore was trying to go off NFR. I'm not sure how it all plays out, but it's sort of in that like too hush, indie, precious kind of pop sphere for me to really love it.
So what are you giving it?
I think I'm still giving it 4 stars though. but it's like a Joe Steigerwald 4-star where it's like right on the edge of the 3.5, 4. Like I like it, but I probably won't go back to it. And I can't say the same for every other Lana Del Rey record. So I don't want to spoil things too much and give away too much, but probably my least favorite Lana Del Rey record.
So I remember when Lana Del Rey like first came out, I think Video Games was the first song I heard in the video, and I thought she had a really cool voice and a cool delivery and a cool image, and she seemed very promising, and then just never did anything else that really connected that much with me. I think she's fine. All of her albums for me are like 2.5, 3 stars. And this one's the same. I just don't really get what's interesting about her musically. I think she's got something interesting there, and I just don't think she's doing much with it. So this one, I mean, just a blip on the radar. 2.5, it might as well not exist. And the whistle register, that high pitched singing that you were talking about, I absolutely hated. So yeah, 2.5 for me.
I'd say that's probably the thing that you're missing is like when she does that, she's like doing a falsetto, but she can't. She just does it anyway. She's like, "I was a waitress." That's it. You either get it or you don't. Like she's just putting herself out there. I mean, her music isn't like that fascinating, but I think she's just an amazing, soulful artist. She puts herself in like these vulnerable situations. You know what? The way Ryan, like, would you, Jason, say that like Ryan Adams at his best and the way he writes love songs is like one of your favorite love songwriters of all time? That's how I feel about Lana Del Rey. She writes like the way she writes love songs and stuff like that, like her hopeless like melodrama. It's like I want a girl to like feel that way about me and like have to write these songs. Like, and Joe's right, White Dress might be the best song she's ever written. It's phenomenal. It's cool. It's lonesome. I am giving this 5 out of 5 stars. It is my front runner and the only 5-star album I have so far this year. It's just like, yeah, that whisper, like that ashy, high pitched whisper. Joe said it perfect, like that indie preciousness where she's like, she wants attention. It's really cool. It's very romantic, very sexual. Her ability to like be quiet and razor sharp at the same time is like really vibrant. It's unmatched. There's just a lot of great nuance in the production. Like the slowfully masterful like collects and builds in a lot of songs. And her lyrics I just love. They're always really cool and stylish, full of longing. She's very comfortable with her desperation. Like she has that lyric, "Let me hold you, baby." Wild at Heart is great. The low end on this album I think sounds amazing. Yosemite is really good. The Joni Mitchell, she sounds just like Joni Mitchell on this cover at the end too, which I think is great. It's definitely slow and it's very like down and saturated, which I think is cool because it's a different piece of her discography. Love her voice. Just clicks with me big time in a big way. I don't know if it's my favorite Lana album, probably not, but it's still 5 stars. So I'm closer to Joe, obviously.
I do, it's less about Lana Del Rey, I think, on this album than Jack Antonoff, which is why I don't put it at the heights. I think her songwriting, she's one of my favorite songwriters lyrically. And I just don't know, I just don't feel like Antonoff really accentuates the songwriting as well as like Dan Auerbach did on Ultraviolence. And I feel like some of her witty sort of, look at me, pop culture. I mean, she has a very interesting like real style. It's not a lot of like forced metaphors or anything. It's very sort of like drawn from pop culture and like now. And I really like that. I just wish the production was a little more, I don't know, active and accentuating that, because sometimes I feel like her lyrics get lost sort of in the swirl of the production. But this is definitely one I'm going to listen to multiple times, mostly because I love Lana Del Rey. So I have a feeling I could move up and I could feel a little stronger about it. It's definitely a contender for my album of the year, despite my sort of unsure, uncertainty on the whole thing right now. But I feel like it could definitely be a grower.
Yeah, I love it. I've listened to it 3 times, but I have singled out White Dress as the song of the year. I probably listened to that 15 or 16 times. Tried to learn it on guitar the other day. I wish I had a piano because the piano part is great. But any closing thoughts, Jason?
I don't get it at all. I don't see where there's anything interesting about her lyrics. And I listened to it back to back with the Alice Phoebe Lou when I was listening to them, and the Alice Phoebe Lou just blew it out of the water for me. So if you want to hear a great female singer-songwriter record,
Oh, boo,
go to that one.
Jason.
Ooh, I have 3 names in my name, and I wear a flower dress, and I sound like I'm from indie folk. Yeah, whatever. Is there slide guitar on that album?
Nope.
Whoa, look at you evolving before our eyes. All right, guys, if you out there have listened to this Lana Del Rey album, are you more with Joe, Jason, or myself? Thanks for watching. This was an epic episode of GMA. We really liked getting the fan mail, the Ask Us Anything. We probably will do that again. Jason, will we be seeing you again soon?
Probably not. In like a month or 2.
Fair enough. Well, thanks for joining us. We always love having you. Guys out there, don't forget to vote for March Badness. The next round voting is open, and you don't need to register or anything. Just go on there and vote. And yeah, we've got what do we got coming up this week? We've got our 2000s recap, and then King Crimson the week after that. And I guess we might as well let the cat out of the bag. After that, it's going to be Pearl Jam, which is a recorded video, so we might look a little different. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for all of the programming coming up this week. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell for notification. Check out our social media presence, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We also have a website now, which pretty much just has the voting on it, but we're going to up all of our game everywhere. So thanks for staying tuned, and we will see you next time on Listography. Take care.